All right, good evening, Alachua County. I am Dr. Antonique Edwards. I am the Chief of Equity, Inclusion, and Community Engagement for Alachua County Public Schools. And I'm also delighted to be here with you on tonight. I'm standing in the stead of our Parent Academy Specialist, Ms. Pam Anderson, who couldn't be with us today. We certainly send our, she did have a loss in her family, and we send our condolences, and she certainly is in our heart on tonight. But as we move forward, we definitely have a great team of people who are going to share wonderful information with you all. And so before I do introductions, I want for you to know that with the Parent Academy, our goal is to make sure that we have resources and information that we're giving to parents so that we can work together as that village, right? And the team that comes together to help students to be successful. We want that to happen all the way from our pre-K students all the way through their graduation experience in Alachua County. And so tonight I am going to introduce to you all through the Alachua County, or I should say the Early Learning Coalition of Alachua County, the compliance manager for the programs department, which is Miss Sharon McMillan Balkin. Hopefully I said that correctly. And along with her, Miss Kimberly Brown, who's the parent support specialist for the Family Services Department. So they are joining us again from the Early Learning Coalition. And then we have with us some people who sit right in the house with me over at Fernside through our VPK program. And that is our VPK Administrative Coordinator, Ms. Trish Nieves, and our Program Services Coordinator, Ms. Jerry Richardson. So with no further ado, they are going to share presentations with you. I will say that if you have questions during this span of time while each of our presenters are sharing with you on this evening, please feel free to put your questions in the chat in the Q&A, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. So don't leave, stay with us the whole time because there might be some great answers to your wonderful questions. So with that said, to our guests from the Early Learning Coalition, I now hand it over to you.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Brown. I'm the Parent Support Specialist at Early Learning Coalition of Alachua County. And I'm going to just answer a few basic questions for you all as far as the program, the VPK program that we offer at Early Learning Coalition. So the first one is, what is the VPK program? The Voluntary Pre-Kindergarten Program, VPK, is a free educational program that prepares children for kindergarten. The children must be 4 years of age and be a Florida resident to participate. Children may participate in either the school year program consisting of 540 hours or the summer program consisting of 300 total instructional hours. VPK is offered at child care facilities that are contracted with ELC, Early Learning Coalition of Alachua County. They contain the following requirements as specified in the rule and law: a license or accreditation, a developmentally appropriate curriculum, manageable class sizes, and qualified instructors for the VPK program. And as I said before, the age requirement for the children that want to participate in the VPK program through Early Learning Coalition has to be 4. They must be 4 years old. Now they can be 3, turning 4, and the system will allow you to select the correct school term or term that they will be eligible to participate in the program. So you are able to register them early before they turn 4. And now I'm going to hand this question off to Ms. Sherry.
Well, good evening. My name is Sherry McMullen Bouchin, and I work in the programs department at the Early Learning Coalition of Alachua County. I'm happy to be here tonight, share information with you, along with Kimberly Brown and everyone else. So the benefits of VPK, voluntary pre-kindergarten, of course, is primarily it's research-based to show that children perform better in the long run on standardized tests. They have better school attendance rates, develop lifelong social emotional skills, and are less likely to drop out of school. But it is primarily a time in a child's life that they get to be 4 and experience the many domains that are in the Florida Early Learning Standards in order to prepare them for a successful transition to kindergarten. And so that being said, the county, the state of Florida offers VPK all over the state. It's completely free, like Kimberly said. And there are private providers as well as the public schools. And so today we're at the Parent Academy, and public schools are going to share with you everything about the public school VPK experience. If you have questions and would like to have more information about private providers, there's a way on our website to click on and find those resources or to contact us. So my extension at the coalition is 127, and I accept phone calls anytime about programs. That being said, I wanted to share real quick the basic. I'm just going through so many things here real quick. Sorry.
While you're doing that, we do have a question in the chat about, is pre-K available online from home because of COVID-19?
The Florida Department of Education would not approve that. It was asked and requested, and no, that is not an option for VPK. The 8 domains of learning for the standards for 4-year-olds entering kindergarten is that by the time they have completed the VPK year, they would have some mastery in their physical development, approaches to learning, social and emotional development, language and literacy, mathematical thinking, scientific inquiry, social studies, and creative expression through the arts. This information is available online, and I will direct you to in just a little, and the next time I speak. Thank you.
So I just want to give some instructions on how a parent can apply for the child's VPK certificate through the Early Learning Coalition portal. So the VPK application process is entirely online. We have computers and scanners available here at our location for the parents. If they need assistance, they can come in and use our computers, and we'll gladly assist them on doing the application. There are only 2 requirements for the application. One is a proof of current residency in the parent's name, and the second is proof of the child's age. It can be a form of a birth certificate, passport, military record, immunization record. It just has to be an official, one of those official documents. We don't take copies, but you are uploading it online. So like I said, if you have questions, you can always come into our office and we'll let you know if it's acceptable. But it's only 2 requirements. Like I said, it's the proof of address and the age, proof of age for the child. The link is on the flyer that is up now, and it's also on our website, elcalachua.org. If you go to the website, you can click on VPK, and it'll give you instructions and details of the program first, and then guide you to the link that will allow you to do the application. Once the application is submitted, we have up to 5 days to have it processed. And once it's processed, you will receive an email notifying you that it's been approved, and you would get a certificate. With that certificate, it's not made out to a provider. That's where your choice comes in, and where you would have to find a provider for your child. We strongly encourage for you to visit the providers before selecting one, simply because you want to make sure it's a place that you want your child to be. Even though all of the providers are licensed and regulated through the state, but you want to just make sure it's a good fit for your child. So once you visit, you can hand that certificate off to the provider of your choice. You don't have to let us know. Once the provider registers your child, that is how we know where your child is attending. With that, we do offer a provider's list, and that list is on our website as well. When you click on the VPK portion of our website, there's a section in that section that says provider list, or find a provider, find a provider. And you can click there and it'll give you a list for the school year and the summer providers.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
You're welcome.
Referring to that, there's a question of, do all public schools offer VPK?
That is a question for Trisha or Miss Jerry.
Hi, yes, and we do not offer VPK in every public school yet, and we will get to that a little bit further on in the presentation, but it's coming very soon. We do have it at 12 locations.
Okay, and then we also have, once you apply online for the voucher, how long until we hear back? Because we have a parent who applied 2 weeks ago approximately.
She applied with ELC, Early Learning Coalition. Our typical turnaround is 5 days. Now, if there's a glitch with your application or something of that sort, then it may take a little longer, but we usually notify the parent, letting them know what's going on or if there's something going on. So if they, typically a parent is probably, or sorry, I won't say probably, but have used VPK in another region or another county, and it's causing a glitch with ours. But if not, I strongly suggest that the parent reach out to our office during the week and let us know what's going on so we can research it and make sure it's done. But typically it's 5 days, business days, that we have to turn it around.
Thank you so much, Ms. Brown.
No problem.
So are there any other questions right now in the chat box or any other questions?
You all are swiftly moving through them. Thank you so much.
Sure. So, so Kim showed you our webpage, and with that list of resources that she directed everyone to, not only will you be provided with a list of VPK programs, but you will be provided with their start date, end date, how many classes they serve, what the teacher qualifications are, what type of curriculum they have decided to use, where they're located, their phone number, the director's name. So that list is very important for you to start with, because you can find a convenient location for yourself as well as go visit and make that first contact. I would like to also share, I gave a handout. Hopefully you'll be able to download it. Tricia has put it up on the screen, or somebody has for us, which is a list of web links for VPK families. And the very first one is the Florida Department of Education Division of Early Learning. So when you click that hyperlink, you would go directly into so much information about VPK, everything you could possibly want to know. You will click at the top like that, and then go back to VPK and then to families. So you'd scroll down to families, and there's going to be information for families. The parent handbook will be available. How to register will be available. Resources for family, support for summer learning, VPK, just everything you would ever ask and that hasn't occurred to you yet about this amazing year of being a 4-year-old turning 5. Standards, you can go to families and then look at each standard in each domain and realize that each indicator level of those skills that the teachers will be working on with your children in the classroom. Also, it will help you know, especially in the family handbook, is class size, teacher qualification requirements. And so I wanted to share that PDF, and I hope everybody can print that out and to save it and to utilize that, because we could talk for hours, but this is going to get you your answers very quickly. And with that, I'm not sure. Let's see. I think I've covered everything that, unless somebody has a question that I can think of. I will say that the list that's on the webpage for the Early Learning Coalition of Alachua County, we work towards creating those contracts with each program. So that contracting process happens throughout the summer. So if you see that on the list, a provider, we call them providers, but a program is pending. If it says pending, that means we're finishing up some paperwork to get them contracted for the 22-23 year. And so then it will become approved, and that status will change to approved. So we assume for the most part, those names continue each year. Most of our VPK programs continuously offer it year after year. There's been very few times that somebody's either closed down or moved, but we do have some new programs that have recently come aboard, and so they will be added to the list soon. So keep an eye on that list. it can change and it can be updated all the way through, I mean, right up through August, almost with start date. So just wanted to let everyone know that as well. Any questions?
No questions as of yet. You all have handled the questions so far.
Okay. Kim, is there anything you didn't think of that you wanted to say that, I mean, that we missed between us here covering eligibility and programming? If not, we're okay.
I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered anything. I just want to strongly encourage the parents to reach out to us if you have any questions before you enroll your child or even before you apply for the program. Our doors are open. Like I said, we have resources here for you to use if you want assistance completing the application and uploading your documents for the application. So,
and we really appreciate you parents that have been on this call, that you're ready to have your young 4-year-old take that leap and be ready for kindergarten. So we're excited for you, and I know the school board is too. And so please spread the word.
Okay, well, thank you, Sherry and Kim. I really appreciate you all sharing all those helpful links. It's a lot of information out there for families to access. So now we are actually going to talk about what the Alachua County Public Schools has to offer. So as I mentioned, there is a list of all of the VPK providers in the entire county. And there's a lot. And so you have public schools, charter schools, private schools, daycares, all of that. So what is different about the Alachua County Public Schools VPK program? Well, and there's quite a few things, but one of the things is we do have several locations. So currently we are actually at 10 schools in the district. For the upcoming school year, we will be at 12 elementary schools in the district. Those are Archer, Childs, Hidden Oak, Irby, Lake Forest, Newberry, Norton, Rawlings, Shell, Talbot, Terwilliger, and Wiles. So our students would attend VPK at their zone school, so where they will go for kindergarten. And that's so they can get familiar with the school, the campus, the routine. And this is just going to make their transition to kindergarten the following year even better because they're already going to be there and know what to do. We also offer longer hours. So the VPK voucher provides 540 hours. Our program does offer a full day. So students would come just like a kindergartner for the full school day, which amounts to a little over 1,000 hours. So, you know, we're doing that as a way to help with closing this achievement gap and trying to help do that before they attend kindergarten. So we're going to be giving our students 1,000 hours of early childhood education. And like most providers, our parents do have to provide their own transportation. VPK students in the school district are not eligible to ride the school bus. So parents will have to bring them and pick them up every day and sign them in and out. There is no cost. It's not income based. So we encourage anybody and everybody to apply. So just like the VPK voucher, you just have to be 4. It's the same thing with us. There is no income based qualification. We just want to make sure you're 4 by September 1st. We do follow the school district's calendar. So if you go to the school board website at www.sbac.edu and you click on calendar, there is a calendar there. So our students would follow that. So they would be offered Thanksgiving break, winter break, spring break, teacher work days, that kind of thing. So that information is posted online. So how do we prepare our kids for kindergarten? Well, several ways. Our classrooms utilize the Frog Street curriculum, which is a comprehensive research-based curriculum that is aligned to both the federal and state standards. We also focus on the Florida Early Learning and Developmental Standards. And if you're wondering what those are, it's just the standards for early childhood. And you can actually go onto the Department of Education's website, and under the Division of Early Learning, you can find those there. And it even shows how that aligns to the kindergarten and up standards. So you want to take a look at that to know what your child should be learning now to be ready for kindergarten next year. We also have amazing staff. We have a teacher and assistant in every classroom, and they are trained in early childhood. So that is another way we help our kids get ready for kindergarten. Now, just like most providers, we do have limited space. So although we can only serve so many children, we still want to encourage every family to enroll their child into a VPK or a preschool program in the county. there's only 2,000 days from the day your child is born to the day they start kindergarten. And so you're going to really need to help them get access to the best educational opportunity that they can get to get them ready for kindergarten. So we want to encourage everybody to apply with us, apply somewhere, and because it's going to just help them be ready for kindergarten when they go the following year. So now I'm going to pass the mic over to Jerry Richardson. She's our VPK Program Services Coordinator, and she's going to tell you how to apply with us with the Alachua County Public Schools.
Okay, thank you, Tricia. So the first step in applying for our services is to go to www.tinyurl.com/ACPS-VPK. And as you can see, this is a brief application that takes maybe a couple of minutes to complete. So that is step one. Step two is going to be for you to apply for the VPK voucher or the certificate of eligibility. You're going to go to the Family Portal website, which is the website that ELC mentioned earlier, and follow the instructions as presented. A copy of our flyer can be found on our website at www.sbac.edu.vpk. And our flyer is also available in Spanish, and all of the links that we mentioned can be found on the flyer. So once you've applied, our application will be reviewed to verify age and school zone. And remember, students must be 4 years of age on or before September the 1st, and they have to attend their zone school. So students that are zoned to a school that does not offer VPK can apply for another site, but the priority will be given to those students who are zoned to that school. So once that is done, we will contact the parents with the application status. So if you are accepted, we're going to provide you with the next steps for doing the school registration and returning your VPK voucher. If the school is full, we're going to place you on the website and then, on our wait list. And then once space becomes available, we're going to give you a call to let you know that we have space available. So as we mentioned earlier, we do encourage you, if for some reason all of our spots are filled, to apply for a VPK with another provider through ELC, because we do know that early education is key. And so we want to make sure that you try to get your students enrolled in school. So if you apply for the voucher through us and we're full, then you can go through ELC and apply through them. And you do have one time to transfer the voucher, so you can enroll in the VPK program with another provider and then contact us later on if we have space available. Okay, are there any questions or concerns regarding the application?
Oh, it's like popcorn. Y'all, it's juicy. It's getting good. So I've got a few questions here. And you might have answered them, but we do have people coming in and out, so it's important to reiterate. One is it limited to the public school in the zone, in the student's zone?
Yes. So
Yes.
yeah. So basically, kids need to be going, they will be going to the school zone that they are zoned for. There are a few elementary schools that do not have a VPK program, and in those instances, those children can apply for the other schools. But yes, we want them to go to their zone school. That's where they will be going for kindergarten.
Okay, and do we need the voucher first?
No, you
No.
actually can apply for those simultaneously. You don't have to wait to get the voucher to apply with us. We will need the voucher once you've been accepted.
Okay, and is it okay if they go to a private school? Is that an option with their voucher?
Yeah, there are a few private schools that offer it, and it should be, if they still are offering it next year, it's going to be on that provider list, which was on the Early Learning Coalition's website. So there's charter schools, private schools, and daycares, Head Start, and then the public schools. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and while I'm asking more questions, there was a question of, can you show the new public schools that will have VPK again, please?
Sure. 1 second.
And then what if the school's full? Can I register for another public school site?
Okay, here's, there we
So
go.
as we stated earlier, if that site is full, you're going to be placed on a waiting list. And then once space becomes available, we'll contact you.
All right.
And then here are the locations. Once again, there are 12 of them. Oh, and I know some of them are a little hard to see. All the way out there to the right is Shell. But I'll tell you them verbally one more time because I know it's hard to see. That's Archer, Childs, Hidden Oak, Irby, Lake Forest, Newberry, Norton, Rawlings, Shell, Talbot, Terwilliger, and Wiles.
Okay. And someone did their application yesterday, but I do believe Ms. Brown said it takes 5 days typically to get something approved, or could you talk about the application?
Yes, if they did the application on the Early Learning Coalition site, we have it completed with up to 5 days. So they should hear something within 5 business days of submitting the application.
Thank you. And what is the requirements to make you qualify or not qualify for VPK?
For the voucher or for our program?
Could you cover both? Because
okay, sure.
Yeah.
So, well, Kim, go ahead and talk about for the voucher part. Yeah.
For the voucher / certificate with Early Learning Coalition, the only, to be honest with you, is really not a way to disqualify as long as you have proof of address in the parent's name and proof of age for the child. VPK is a very, I don't want to say loose, but it's a lot easier than most programs that are subsidized or funded by state or feds. So with that, the only qualifiers, like I said, is proof of address and proof of age, child's age.
And I would also mention that we have situations where it isn't the parent that the child might be living with. So Kim, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, well, with the VPK program, it's not required that they provide guardianship of the child, because we have a lot of grandparents and aunts and so forth that have the children living with them. So with the program through the state, they do not require guardianship to be a determining factor for VPK. So as I said before, proof of address, just to make sure to verify which region you're in. So pertaining to which bucket of money it comes out pretty much. And then proof of child's age to make sure that they are eligible for the program.
And Kim, I would like to add that, sometimes we'll have parents contact us and say, hey, my voucher application got denied. And we really want to encourage families to call the Early Learning Coalition and find out, or go on the application and look. It could be something very simple, like you typed in, it's First Street when it was Second Street, and the address didn't match the proof of address. So you were denied from a typo, so sometimes it's just they need one more thing, or the thing that you copied was, too blurry for them to read or something like that. So being denied is more from errors than anything.
Exactly. I do want to advise the parents that when you go out to visit the providers, a lot of them want to know that you've been approved already, for the simple fact space is limited. So when you go to visit and they say, I have 3 spots left, it's pretty much a first come, first serve type thing. So if you have your certificate in hand, that's a better opportunity for you to get that spot with that provider, whichever one of your choice. But if you do that process first and then select your provider, that'll work out a lot better for you as far as the space and availability for the services.
Okay, so I got a happy gram that someone did get approved and they downloaded their eligibility certificate. Yay! So what's the next step? To reach out to the school?
So
yes,
Which provider?
You reach out to a provider that you want to go to. So if you have the voucher that approves your funding, now you got to find where do you want to put your child. So you get your list of all the providers and you figure out where you want to go. And every one of them may have a different way to apply. So ours is online. And so for us, you would just go on and fill out that it's a Google form, just takes about 60 seconds to fill out. That'll put your name onto our list. And it is time stamped. So we do go in order, first come, first serve. If you're interested in another place, you might want to give them a call and find out what their process is. But yeah, reach out to the different providers. For us, it's just that one application that you have to fill out to get on our list. And when you fill it out, you'll choose which school you're applying for.
Okay, and I believe you answered this, but I definitely want to ask every question that comes up. What if you are doing a zoning exemption?
Okay, so zoning exemptions are actually only for K through 12. So those, so pre-K or VPK students do not qualify for that zoning exemption. If there's a particular situation that you're having, we're happy to talk to you about it over the phone, but we're gonna have the children go to their zone school. And the zoning process from the zoning office is for K through 12 students. But give us a call or email us and we can talk and work through your particular situation.
Okay, and if the attendees will look, Dr. Edwards is also answering questions in the chat because it's like popcorn. I tell you what, y'all are popular. What are the hours for public school VPK?
So we have a full school day, so it's the same as the regular kindergarten students. So VPK is at 3 hours a day. So our program that offers a full day starts at 7:30 and it ends, I believe it's 1:52 in the afternoon. Wednesday is early dismissal, which is 12:37. It comes down to a couple minutes here and there. And there are a few schools that actually have an extra hour because that's what the school does. But it's basically the same thing as whatever the elementary school does, the same hours.
Okay, and it looks like I have a couple of questions with the same topic. What is it basically wanting to know, how does the public VPK public school classroom differ from a center-based center? You know, the school, what are the school, do they get school lunch, do they take a nap? And basically, what does a typical day look like for a VPK student?
Okay, so, and, you know, in those things, I can't speak to about what the other providers give because, you know, it could vary from provider to provider. For us, they get everything, you know, like in terms of meals, it's just like the regular K through 5, K through 12. They get breakfast, they get lunch, or you can bring your own food. That's fine too. In some of our schools, they eat in the classroom, some they eat in the cafeteria. There's a different way that works, but basically they can get breakfast, they'll get lunch, and they do have nap time. And trying to think what the other part of the question was, but basically the children would come in every day, signed in by their parents. They come in, they have breakfast, and then immediately we start with our instructional hours where they're going through the curriculum and there are lesson plans, and we are making sure that we're getting through a lot of different topics. And then somewhere in there will have a snack, and then they have lunch and nap, and they go outside for recess. A lot of our VPKs are included into the school's specials schedule. So some may have art or music. Different schools have different specials and how they're able to rotate that through. And then by the end of the day, they are dismissed and the parents will come in, sign them out. That's pretty much the day. Did I miss anything, Mary?
That sounds like a wonderful action-packed day at the public schools. And I think that's amazing that meals are included. I think that somebody asked some of the differences between that and some private providers. And it's important that what Tricia said speaks to everyone in that there's a diversity. So there are charter schools and there are faith-based schools. So parents who have a specific faith may want their child to be in that type of an atmosphere. And some, you know, so we contract to over 100 providers, including the public school system. So if you consider that Tricia is saying you have 12, we're at least at 80, 85, and we're moving up. So that's how many privates there are. But again, it's parents' choice and what is best for you and your family. And it certainly sounds like the public schools are offering an amazing day. In a private school, they still need to cover the standards. They must have curriculum implementation. Nap time is not considered instructional time. So private providers, if your child stays longer than the VPK hours, you would have to pay privately for that. And then they might have a nap, and some have food, lunches, and some are part of USDA program and can have that, and some don't. And you know, we are looking always, the state, and Tricia knows this because the public schools, obviously with the Department of Education, have to cover the standards. So we are talking about the early learning standards for 4-year-olds and moving to kindergarten. So another thing I just wanted to speak to real quick that I forgot to mention earlier was that, and I know Tricia already mentioned it briefly, is that parents do have some responsibility to attendance. It is a voluntary program, meaning that 4-year-olds don't have to go to school for 4, but we highly recommend that they're going to have a much more successful, not only kindergarten year, but life of learning if they do attend and make friends and learn things. And but attendance is an issue. The state knows that, and the state will not reimburse over 20% of absenteeism. At that point, they kind of consider you withdrawn. So most programs will tell you each month how many days a child could miss school. And if they go beyond that, the schools risk not getting reimbursed and it not being free for them. So parents will be signing in and signing out and verifying at the end of every month that their child attended. And I don't know if Tricia wanted to add anything about your attendance policy.
Yes, so all the providers, we're required to have an attendance contract, and so we have one, and we have all the parents sign agreeing to it, that they know the hours, and that, you know, we want regular, ongoing, on-time attendance. And there are, like Ms. Sherry mentioned, that children can be dismissed or withdrawn from the program if it becomes excessive or patterned. So, but we haven't really had that much of a problem with that. Our families are fantastic, and they come and they bring the children every day. And if there are any issues, we do work with our families to find out what we can do to help them come to school, because we want to make sure that we're giving the children a good foundation, and we don't want them to have this idea that it's just optional. We can just wake up and go in at 9 or 10 and then come Monday, but not Tuesday. So we want to get them on that routine and that pattern. That's going to set that routine for them going forward when they go to kindergarten. So it's that we do have an attendance requirement and a policy that the parents sign agreeing to, that they will bring their children every day and on time. Ms. Dr. Arduza?
All right, yes, we got a lot. This is great. Do children have to be potty trained?
No, not for, I don't know. I can't speak to other providers what their rules are, but for us, no, that's not a requirement of our program.
And are teachers CPR certified and trained in first aid?
So as a VPK program, that's not one of the requirements. I believe a lot of ours are CPR and first aid trained. I would have to check and see if that's a school, that would be a school district requirement if they are. But as a VPK program, are VPK teachers in general required to have CPR and first aid? No, I think it's just by the provider. Is that right, Sherry?
So providers that have a license through the state, Department of Children and Families license, most of the staff will be required to have that. Yes, we don't check that for determining eligibility for people to offer and businesses to offer the VPK program, but they do have to have either a license or an accreditation, or they're already part of the public school system. So in most cases, the answer to that is yes, they have it.
Okay, thank you. So I know that they mentioned, Ms. Brown said the 5 days for ELC. What about how long before you hear back from Alachua County VPK once you've applied?
So we've been taking applications since January, and we just started notifying families right here near the end of March. We had a couple delays while we were working out some extra sites that we were adding in. So we have, so anybody who's applied, I would say probably from mid-March. Prior to that, they've all been notified. Anything after about mid-March, we're still in the process of verifying your application, because we do have to check the zoning and the age and make sure sometimes folks apply too early or whatnot. So we are checking all those things, and then we will be notifying you. But if you, for the most part, and I'll say that there's maybe 1 or 2 sites that are different, but for the most part, if you applied before about March 15th, you've been notified. And if you haven't, please email us, because we did get a couple emails that bounced back that the emails were not, maybe missing a letter or something.
All right, and can your child receive speech and language services while in VPK?
Can they receive speech and language services while VPK? Yes. they can. The process to get those services is basically they would be referred. There's an agency called Fiddlers, which is the Florida Diagnostic Learning Resource System. And that is the agency that the Alachua County Public Schools partners with. It's part of the Child Find IDEA grant. And so basically you would call Fiddlers, we would refer you to Fiddlers, you call Fiddlers, you'll be screened through them. There's some questionnaires you'll fill out, you send it back. And then Fiddlers works with the pre-K ESC department to determine what kind of an evaluation do you need to qualify for an evaluation. Your child would come in for that. Then they would have an evaluation and then a staffing to determine what does your child need. Is it speech? Is it language? Is it more than that? What kind of services are they eligible for? And then we would go forward. So there is a process, and that's for anybody. That's not just for VPK students. Any child who is 3 years old to 5 years old before they hit kindergarten, if you're at least 3 years old, you can do that to have your child evaluated. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you would get those services while you are enrolled in our program. We're enrolled in, and they have the pre-K ESC program as well. So you can get those services while you come to school. Mm-hmm.
Could you put Dr. Edwards, if you could put the link to the list of new public schools that's come up again and the steps to apply? Also, what happens if a provider approves your child for a spot and you end up not taking it?
That's a great question. And in that we would really hope that you would please contact the school that you gave the voucher to, the certificate of eligibility, and let them know so that spot will open up to another child. When those type of things happen and schools think that a classroom is full, for one reason or the other that happens, there's children waiting to get in that are being denied. So with all due respect, please do communicate that with the school as soon as you know.
Okay, and are parents allowed to visit the VPK classrooms at their assigned schools before deciding? So and alongside that, there was another, do public school VPKs have an open house before the school year starts? And in unforeseen circumstances, if there's a need for a child to be moved to another school in the county, is that possible? So basically, is there a show and tell before they have to go?
Okay, so that's a lot of questions in one. So let me see if I can cover this. So in terms of visiting the site, that's going to be on a site-by-site basis. And there's a lot of issues with that, not just COVID issues, but we have to make sure that we are mindful of the visitors that we do bring onto the school campuses. So it would just be on a case-by-case basis and depending on the current policy of the time. So if you're, if someone's interested in that, you can contact me and we can move forward to see if that's available at that school during school hours. It's certainly, one of those things we just have to be, we're mindful about what visitors we have come on campus and when, and that's just for everyone's safety. And then we do an open, so once you're accepted and you're enrolled and we have a start date, you're starting school in August. The week before or a couple of days before you start school, there is an open house at all of the public schools, and VPK is a part of that. So yes, you'd be able to go in and meet the teacher and receive, and that's not open house, that's meet the teacher, but you'd go in and get, see the classroom, she would go over what would be needed if you need to bring in, backpack and a change of clothes and that kind of thing. So yeah, you would be able to see the classroom before they actually start once you're accepted. Mm-hmm. Did I cover everything? I feel like I missed something there, Ms. Dr. Arduza.
No, you did. You did well. And are VPK teachers certified or licensed teachers?
Dr. Arduza, I'm sorry. I think you did ask her one other question about being able to transition from one program to another.
Okay, so again, changing schools is going to be based on your zone. So if you, let's say, are attending VPK at Wiles and then you move, we would need to look at where you're zoned now. So let's say now you're zoned for Rawlings. And so now I'd have to see if there's a space at Rawlings. So it's not an automatic thing. We certainly would give you, we definitely prioritize our transfers. We want you to stay enrolled, and we have done many transfers. That's not a problem, but we also have to look at what the space available at that school is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the ELC would speak to that as well. Kim, are you still on? Do you want to speak to transfers? Is Kim still with us? Otherwise, I can go ahead and speak to transfers.
Hi, I'm having some computer issues over here. Sorry. To transfers with the VPK program through early learning, you are able to re-enroll as long as you have not used, or the child has not used 70% of the program, meaning that I think the program is ending next month. So right now we have parents for different reasons that are wanting to transfer, but the child has used 70% of the hours, the 560 hours.
Well, so there's 540 hours, so that would be 378 hours. Once you reach that, that's considered substantial completion, and then we can't do any transfers.
Yeah.
But everybody gets one, so even if you had to transfer down south to a different place in Florida, it's allowable.
Okay, so far, those are all my Q&As from the question and answer chat. And I know Dr. Edwards has been really hitting the chat box. Oh, we got one. What is the ratio of teachers for specifically VPK at Newberry Elementary School, I believe?
Okay, so there is and Sherry, what is the standard for all VPK providers for the ratio?
Okay, so let's talk to that for a minute. It's going to be the same for all schools because it's determined by the Florida Department of Education. So if it's a small VPK classroom, there can be 11 children with one teacher who has the proper certifications. If it's a large VPK room, it caps at 20 kids during the school year. And that would require a teacher and an assistant to be in the classroom. In the summer, one teacher can be with 12 children with the proper certifications. During COVID, there was an instance where they allowed 1 year of having, I think, 22 children in a room, but that's gone back away, and it's back to at the most 20 children in a room with a teacher and assistant. Is that what you were going to say, Tricia?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Those are all the questions thus far from my question and answer portion. And I believe Dr. Edwards has really hit a lot of the questions. And wait, are VPK teachers certified or licensed? I believe we covered that, but could you reiterate that?
I'll speak to our private providers. Our private providers, teachers' qualifications, our literacy training, standards training courses through the Department of Education. They do not hold an educational certificate license with the state the way the public schools do. Many of our providers, though, or school teacher, VPK teachers, do have bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and whatnot, but they might have a teaching credential instead. And to find that information, when you go to our website, you would see a list of providers. Again, click on VPK, go to the list of providers, and that is information we're required by the state to enter in that list. So you would know what the teacher's qualifications are before you go and visit the school. And I'll let Tricia speak to the public school system.
So it's very similar. They do have to have at least a CDA to be the teacher, along with those, when she says the standards training, that's the Florida State standards training. And then there's also emergent literacy training, which is now just recently changed. So for the upcoming school year, our teachers will actually have 15 hours of emergent literacy training. So we're really focusing on and making sure they get that extra literacy training to help our students. And so, but like she mentioned, a lot of the staff, even though the requirement is only a CDA, a lot of them do have a lot more. So it's a school by school. What one school has, we do have quite a few with bachelor's, a couple with masters. So yeah, but they at least have to have a CDA, which is a childhood development associate's degree.
Yes.
All right, we got some more popping up. Okay, so is there an expectation for private providers, faith-based, required to communicate curriculum and development and progress with parents?
So all private VPK programs are required to implement curriculum that supports the standards and is developmentally appropriate. For communicating with parents, that is something that differs from school to school. However, the state has an assessment system in place for the beginning of the school year, the middle of the school year, and the end of the school year. And those results should be shared with the parents. If you find a situation in which you feel you're not getting that information, I would like for you to call the coalition, and you're welcome to ask for me, Sherry, and I'm happy to try and address that and find out.
Dr. Arduzo, I do see a note in the chat that someone is asking if we can send the information about this Zoom in Spanish. And on our website, we do have the flyer in Spanish, but if anybody has any questions and they want to go over the program, I do speak Spanish, so they can give me a call. So I'm going to say in Spanish for those folks. Si tienes alguna pregunta o dudas sobre el programa de VPK, me puede llamar aquí en la oficina de Fahrenheit. El número es 955-6875 y mi nombre es Tricia Nieves. Me puede llamar y puedo hablar contigo de lo que habíamos hablado hoy y de cualquier pregunta o duda que tiene.
Gracias, Tricia.
Yeah, gracias. And also, you mentioned you shared the parent handbook that is available in Spanish as well today. So,
Yes, ma'am. What are the current policies regarding COVID at public schools in Alachua County?
Can I refer that question to Dr. Edwards? I mean, I know it changes frequently. Dr. Edwards, can you speak to that?
Let's see how she made me a guest. So at this time, and if there were, if you are referring to like the need for our VPK kids or masking or what have you across the district, it is really up to our families to decide whether they want their children to come to school with masks or not. Of course, we have cleaning protocols, and but we are more so towards that area of more normalized schooling, if that is a word anymore. But we also have all of our COVID procedures. I could not give them all to you in this space, but they are posted on our school website.
Okay, thank you. We have one for you, Señora Tricia. Hola, ¿me pueda el número otra vez, por favor? Oh, there we go. Tricia's on it.
Oh, there we go. I just put it in the chat as well, but el número es 955-6875 y puedes marcar el número 1 para VPK. Y también yo lo puse el número en el chat también con mi email.
Muy bien. Also, I submit the application in January and I already have the certificate approved, but I have not yet been sent the provider assignment email from Hidden Oak Elementary. What should we do?
Oh, that's a fantastic question, and you are absolutely correct. That is one school that we have not notified yet, and we will be doing that this week for sure. We had a couple changes, and we wanted to make sure that we had everything squared away before we sent out our email. So those notifications will be going out right away. So you're absolutely correct. But the information is coming this week, maybe tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow.
Okay. And I do not have any more questions. When I say that, they pop up. So I'm going to say it again. I do not have any questions for you to answer in the question box anymore. And I don't see any in the chat as of right now. Oh, wait. Oh, we got a question. We got a newbie. We'll wait if you got a question.
So while they're getting that question together, I just want to say my preliminary thank yous and to share with all of you who are viewing on tonight that there are some links. I was going to say to you, yes, Trish, I don't know if you saw, I was copying all of your responses to questions and putting them to everyone because she was sharing them in the hidden chats for us. But that information is for you all available. The links to the parent handbook is in the chat as well. So please take the time to look at those materials that are there. Okay, I think the question has just now popped up, Ms. Dr. Arduzo.
Yes, ma'am. Is there a time we can tour the school or class like the roundup? And I think we touched on it, but once again, people are in and out. So if you could reiterate how that would work if a parent wants to take a sneak peek.
Right. So with I'm putting links in the chat. So with the kindergarten roundup is coming up on April 27th at the different schools. And I think that if you go to the school board website, there's actually times for each different school of when kindergarten roundup is. And that those are for children that will be going to kindergarten. But if you're interested in looking at the school or have questions about the school in particular, you can give me a call and we can just go school by school, because we want to make sure that we're following the district policy, the school policy on visitors, and being mindful of when kids are in school and those kinds of things. So it would, if you can give me, and I'll put my email once again in the chat box, and it's nieves@gm.sbac.edu. And you can, shoot me an email and we can see how we can accommodate if we can. But again, there's policies about visitors and COVID and things like that change frequent. So we're going to make sure we stay in compliance with that. So give us a ring and then we'll go case by case.
And I believe Dr. Edwards also put that in the chat earlier, that it is a case by case basis as well. Or school by school.
School by school. Yeah, sorry, school by school.
Yes, school by school.
Well, I want to say, and first of all, I have to give credit to each of you. I know that Dr. Arduzer has been referencing me sharing things in the chat, but it was really just because I recognize that we have different types of learners. And so as we were getting so many questions, I wanted for people who wanted to actually go back and read them to have that availability. But those are your answers, they're not mine. I was literally just writing down what you all were sharing in the chat. And so thank you so much for that, because I would say that Ms. Arduzer or Dr. Arduzer, we've probably had about 30 questions or so tonight, if not more. And
we actually have one more if we can.
And we have one now. We will take this as our final question, however, because we do need to close out around 7 o'clock, and would encourage each of you, if you have additional questions, to please email or call those persons who are working with us on tonight. They'll be more than happy to answer the questions at the Early Learning Coalition, as well as with Alachua County Public Schools. But we are going to take this question before we do our final closing.
Okay, we have two, but one I can answer. Are you posting the recording? Yes, Dr. Edwards makes sure of it. We post it on the website. And the last question, do you have blended learning for a child that's in pre-K ESE?
Yes, we do. Actually, we do provide inclusion classrooms and provide services as a district, not the VPK program, but as a district. The district provides ESE services to students, and the VPK program has partnered with the pre-K ESE program to provide inclusion settings in our classrooms to those students with disabilities and IEPs. So that answer is yes.
Thank you. And I want to say you all did phenomenal. So many great questions, and you all had responses for it. It's an awesome job.
It was lovely to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sherry and Kimberly. I appreciate that as well, Trish and Jerry. To our parents, just so that you know, the Parent Academy is hosting these virtual opportunities to learn more about different aspects of what is happening within our school district to support kids. And so all of the recordings, as Dr. Arduzer has said, will be posted on our Parent Academy site. So if you go to www.sbac.edu/Parent Academy, you will find that on that page, we talk about what the modules are. We have rotations throughout weeks on different areas that we want to focus on. And then as we are completing those sessions, I believe this is our fourth one, we are posting them so that you can always go back and review and more or less have a library of information that you can access. Again, I encourage you to reach out to our special guests on today to get questions answered, and want to remind you that the reason that we did this is because we know that early learning makes a huge difference, right? And so it is so vital and important to us. And I think that even though within the public school, You know, we're always going to support our public school entity, but at the end of the day, we do that because we love kids. And so for every family that is out there, and I think Sherry said it very well earlier, is that you have to look at what works for you and your family, but early learning is good for all children. And so whatever that may be, that is what our encouragement is for you. We certainly want for all families to be successful. So please go out and look at the provider list. Please make sure that you take the time to make the phone calls because it is advantageous for the whole family system. And so we are definitely excited to be able to share this information because we believe in the process, especially of early learning and the benefits that it can have for families in the long run. This is about longevity in life and being able to have great success and preparing kids for that success over the course of their life, not just while they're 4 or 5 years old. And so very excited about this. Thank you guys for sharing. I learned a lot tonight as well. And very, very excited to get all that information. I see some people who are saying thank you. I see your supervisor, Ms. Nieves, is on tonight, and she said you did an amazing job. I agree with her. And so that's it, you guys. We're signing off for this week's edition of our virtual lessons for the Parent Academy, and we hope that you will join back with us soon. Take care and have a good night.